Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's special battlefield report. This week's international politics has been jaw-dropping. The Netanyahu left his meeting with Biden halfway because Biden dared to propose a 21-day ceasefire. Then Biden hurried to host Zelensky at the White House, accepting a verbal lesson from the young leader. Watching Biden mumble to reporters, one can imagine his private attitude towards Zelensky. That kid refuses to lose the war in Ukraine, really messing up old Biden's plans. The wealth code of military aid? But none of that matters. What's truly important is that Biden still promised hundreds of millions in military aid, not just to Israel, but Ukraine gets a share too. He even signed a presidential order. Ukraine is about to receive AG-154 Javelin cruise missiles, HIMARS ammunition, armored vehicles, and of course more big gifts. As for Trump, he's probably jumping up again, saying the U.S. hasn't wasted $300 billion, but $2 to $5 trillion swallowed by Ukraine. In reality, over 90% of the money stays within the U.S., but these details aren't important. What's important is whether these weapons can reach Ukraine, and when they don't know. No one dares guarantee the aid will continue after January 2025. But don't worry, Israel's aid is solid. As long as the media reports it, everyone can breathe easy. Biden confidently declared Russia will not win, Ukraine will win. Well, Ukraine's victory obviously isn't relying on the Biden administration. Looking 4,000 kilometers east at the EU, it's not much better. Von der Leyen announced an astonishing aid plan, giving Ukraine 40 million euros to rebuild infrastructure. And the Netherlands, not to be outdone, launched a similar plan minus 200 million euros to repair Ukraine's infrastructure. Sounds great, right? But the problem is the infrastructure they repair will be bombed again by Russian missiles before Ukrainians can enjoy it, because the EU hasn't provided enough air defense systems to protect these facilities. Sounds great, right? But the problem is the infrastructure they repair will be bombed again by Russian missiles before Ukrainians can enjoy them, because the EU hasn't provided enough air defense systems to protect these facilities. Biden said the US would send one Patriot air defense system, note, just one, and it needs refurbishing first. Repair it, get bombed, repair it, get bombed, then announce new repair aid, keep spending money, keep repairing, and keep getting bombed. What a perfect money laundering plan. Taxpayers' money just flows into the pockets of the wealthy. Everyone did something, no one can deny that. Legal and compliant, they can claim to have created jobs. Best of all, no one is held responsible. They'll look at the great achievements of 20 years in Afghanistan and Iraq, can't Ukraine continue? Rest assured, the 40 million plus 200 million euros are just appetizers. More aid is on the way. Those frozen Russian assets? Banks collect interest, insurance companies profit from premiums, industries sell equipment, transport it only to have it bombed, continue selling, continue earning. The stock market is booming every day. And taxpayers, distracted watching the NFL or Formula One. Everyone's happy, industries make money. Simply perfect. Every day the media talks about organized crime, Mexican drug lords, Colombian gangs, so amateur, those are small-time operations. Drones and air defense missiles? Enough for a few more days? Recently, Ukraine blew up at least 3 large Russian ammo depots, reportedly destroying up to 80,000 tons of artillery shells, rockets, and missiles. But lately, Ukraine seems to have taken a break after all. Drone production can't keep up with attack demands. By the way, rumors say that last week China imposed strict restrictions on exporting drone-related equipment to Ukraine while increasing smuggled support to Russia. As a result, Ukraine's drone production lines have stalled and fixing the issue might take months. In a world where even U.S. Navy carriers and F-18 fighters use Chinese chips and components, do you still think Ukraine can outdo the U.S. Navy? But don't worry, Ukraine still claims to shoot down a bunch of Russian drones every day. September 24th, shot down 66 Shade drones, interfered with another 13. September 25th, shot down 4 K-59 missiles and 28 Shads. September 26th, shot down 66 out of 78 Shade drones. As for what those that got through hit, officials are completely silent. But do the math, to shoot down one Shahed, Ukraine needs at least one air defense missile, consuming 10 to 30 missiles daily while the West produces about 10 to 30 per week. What a confident aid plan. Kursk, Russians looting, Ukrainians rotating. In the past few days, the Kursk area has been relatively calm. Ukrainians had just repelled a Russian counterattack last week but haven't taken Glushkovo themselves. The Russian army isn't wiped out, just too busy to fight. The Russian staff hurriedly piled over 30 regiments, brigades, and divisions into Kursk Oblast, and Putin handed these troops over to the FSB. The result? The FSB successfully lost 20,000 out of 40,000 men. Busy making a mess? But small-scale attacks still occur, especially between Snegoslo-Lyubomovka and Obuchovka. The 51st and 56th Airborne Regiments and a battalion from the 200th Motorized Rifle Brigade occasionally test the waters. The Ukrainian army is busy rotating troops, pulling out exhausted units and replacing them with fresh soldiers. Most Russian troops haven't fought much lately, mainly busy looting, yes. openly looting shops and homes in southwestern Kharkiv. The command chain of Group Sever is still a mess. Military police are too few to maintain order. So everyone's looting to relieve stress. The main battles involve only the 155th Naval Infantry Brigade, launching several counterattacks near Novi Put and Veselo, but all were repelled by Ukrainians. But don't worry, the FSB is quite willing to fight, especially sacrificing the last naval infantryman. Some good news from northern Kharkiv. Since around September 20th, Ukrainian troops, including the Russian Freedom Legion, have been advancing north of Vovchansk, trying to drive Russian forces out of the remaining defensive lines. Because the Russians pulled too many troops to Kursk, they can't handle the pressure here. Of course, they occasionally launch small counterattacks in the Hybok area, but they're quickly dealt with. Pokrovsk, UA General Staff withdraws L8 troops. Bakhmut. At least there's no bad news from Chasiv. Same old story. Russians try to attack from the Donbass, Siversky, Donetsk Canal, get shattered, then send another wave. Toretsk. Last week, Russians attacked fiercely along Lista Street north from New York, but this week their intensity seems lower. Pokrovsk is basically evacuated, but about 1,600 civilians remain. Some can't leave, others are busy dismantling infrastructure. Trouble is, 2 of the 3 bridges leading to Pokrovsk have been destroyed by Russian strikes. If anyone's still there, they need to run. North of Pokrovsk, Russians changed tactics, no longer pushing west from Novorodovka to Lysivka, but attacking north from Mykolaievka to Mirnoran. Maybe they're rushing to break through before October's mud season. Of course, the 425th Skala Battalion comes to the rescue again. Why? Because the smart folks in the Ukrainian General Staff sent the inexperienced 71st Ranger Brigade, 152nd Mechanized Brigade, and 2 Territorial Defense Battalions to defend this area. Really need to watch this area closely, or they might even withdraw the last National Guard Elite Brigade. South of Pokrovsk, the 15th National Guard Kurdite Brigade is defending well near Selidov, so Russians are trying to bypass from the south, pushing west from Ukrainsk. Holding this area is the lone 14th Motorized Rifle Regiment. Additionally, Russians are attacking south from Ukrainsk, aiming for Hernik, defended by parts of the 59th Motorized Brigade and the 118th Mechanized Brigade. They held until the bridgehead on the east bank of the Vovcha River was nearly evacuated. The 59th is still defending the east side. To the south, Russians continued daily attacks with dozens of armored vehicles and hundreds of soldiers trying to advance north from Maximilianivka to Karakhov. 72nd Brigade and minefields. Vuhledar. The town is completely destroyed, littered with landmines. Even if the war ends now, Demining would take 5 to 6 years before reconstruction can begin. The 2 Ukrainian units there, the battered 72nd Mechanized Brigade and a battalion of the 58th Motorized Brigade, have been withdrawing from Erozhian's ruins for over a week. Why so slow? To do it right, and the 72nd is a good unit, though very tired, they must withdraw step by step, ensuring no one is left behind, and all abandoned positions are mined. On September 22nd, Russians shelled Vuhledar. On September 24th to 25th, they used incendiary shells. Since their failed Izium offensive in March 2022, this has become routine. Why is the 72nd withdrawing? If Kiev keeps ignoring them, sending neither reinforcements nor ammo, what are they supposed to defend with? With nothing, they can't hold on. No surprise Russians have occupied fields around the ruins and began attacking on September 25th. Of course, some experts claim Vuhledar's ruins are insignificant. Well, a destroyed town is useless in peacetime. But in war, even ruins can be excellent defensive positions. Vuhledar is arguably the best in eastern Ukraine, with no better spot for at least 30 kilometers north and west. So even when Bakhmut fell, the 72nd held here. Over 25 battalions defended Bakhmut, yet it still fell, just like Avdiivka. So maybe Vuhledar is insignificant now. Withdrawing to save forces is better than holding an untenable position. But please, Ukrainian General Staff, go there, talk to the soldiers of the 72nd and 58th, tell them they should be proud, keep morale high. They've persisted under 2 years of neglect and only now had to lose this battle. Then, explain where the future defensive line will be. Will these units who saved Kiev in March 2022 and held Vuhledar for 2 years have to keep fighting on open steppe in Ukraine's cold winter? Years later, when Russians are fully expelled, how big a mess will remain here? Just the 15 to 20 km deep Russian minefield south of Vuhledar, plus about 10 km of mines around and north, will be a headache. Let's hope someone will strip the shoulder boards off certain generals, give them proper training, and assign them to Demining. That's all for today's special report. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to stay updated with our coverage. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.